Hey guys, hey guys, hey guys. Welcome to my live Restream. I'm gonna wait just a second for a few people to start showing up. Let's see if I can get anybody into my Restream. All right, guys. Hey guys. Welcome to the Fred Krueger Show. Thanks for showing up to my live Bitcoin and cryptocurrency television show. I want to talk today about really how I see this, the two questions I posted on Twitter. And I want to talk about, because a lot of people are confused about this. So I want to talk about the two questions. And the two questions are really, I think that you really need to think about is this. First question is, how are consumers going to be using cryptocurrency in the next couple of years? That's the first question. What is usage going to look like? Are people going to be just holding their ledger wallets in vaults and waiting 10 years? Is that what they're going to do? And occasionally selling one of their kidneys to buy some Bitcoin? That's one possibility, right? So the first question is, what's the usage looking like? And the second very, very distinct question from that is, what is the best way to allocate your money as an investment, right? And I think these are really two separate questions. So let's attack each one in turn. So the last 20 years really have all been about tech, right? So we've had these tech giants come up, and basically everybody's portfolio now looks like a bunch of tech companies. That's basically what it is. And what are these tech companies? What have they found? Well, they found that the average consumer wants three things. You want something that is super fast, that is super simple, and that is cheap, right? And that's really that. Those are the solutions, and the person who delivers that really, really well tends to win. And so, you had on the sort of pure social side, you have Facebook, you have Instagram, you have TikTok, all of which are just brain dead. You can come in, you can give somebody an Instagram app and they're posting within a minute, 2 minutes. That they figure it out very easily. Same with TikTok. You get it, you start scrolling. I don't like TikTok, but my son does. And same with Facebook. I used to use Facebook. I don't use the thing very much right now. I still have an account. But yeah, they're very, very simple, right? And I think Amazon also is very simple. They've really uncluttered the UX. It's very simple. You can always rely on it. That's the formula. That's the formula that people want. And I think you could also use Google as an example. What's the formula? A big search box that you can type anything in and it just works and you find it. Or even OpenAI, right? Or Grok. You just go there. It's super simple. It works. It's free. That's the formula that's taking over consumers. So let's ask ourselves how we're doing in crypto. Well, we started out by, oh yeah, you want to run some Bitcoin? Great. You just have to mine it on a computer and install this Bitcoin software on your computer. And extremely technical. Very few people could understand it. Then we got, to Ethereum, which is like even more layers of complexity, right? We got this MetaMask thing, just impossible to understand. These Chrome plugins that nobody can get. They don't understand where the wallet is. They don't understand anything. They don't understand the concept of gas and these units, GWEI, GWEI. Like, you couldn't have picked a worse word for your app than GWEI. And then you have layer twos. Well, layer one's already complicated enough for consumers. Now you have to tell them about layer twos. So you're going to go take your Ethereum and convert it into Arbitrum and then work on that and then convert it back to Ethereum, or, and people go, no, Fred, it works well. These base works well. Sure it does, but it's not simple. Okay. The process of going from base to Ethereum, I mean, they've done a pretty good job, but it's not good enough, right? It's not Amazon. It's not, it's not Instagram, right? And the way you get to billions of users is you need something that's as simple as Instagram. That's really it. Now, I would argue that Phantom and Solana are as easy as Instagram. Get a Phantom wallet, you click it, you can send something. It really works. You don't think about any of this stuff. You don't think about a layer two. You don't have to think about any of that stuff. So to me, that really works. Now, I've had a lot of success when I was a lot younger, Fred. I had a lot of success. Good morning, guys. I had a lot of success building consumer apps, right? So, I just kind of went over my little history here. I had this site called iwin.com. And and this was the largest game site on the internet in 1999. It was like Zynga was a little later. You don't hear about Zynga too much. You certainly don't hear about iWin. But we're the 19th largest site on the entire internet, okay? You could argue Yahoo Games might have been bigger, but that was part of Yahoo, which was the largest site on the internet at that point. And so, I have a lot of experience with consumers and what they like, and they like something that's really simple. They like cheap. My very first company was this paint product. We had this thing you could paint. It's called Matisse. Big hit. People loved it, and we even had a $1 version of Matisse called Matisse in Gray. And our first version was already cheap. It was $99, which seemed incredibly cheap for software. And I don't know, 1993 when we first came out with it. But then we came out with Matisse in Gray for $1, and people were like, it was actually free. I think it was like you had to pay shipping, and then we made the money on the shipping. But like people would be, our phones would like be. I would be at an office like this, and there'd be like phones, and they'd be ringing all the time, and we have people picking up, going, "Hello, Matisse in Gray, can I help you?" Yeah. You'd like to order Matisse in Gray? Okay, perfect, sir. Yep, perfect. Would you like the add-ons? Yeah. Okay, great. So, anyways, we just sold so many of these things, right? So I think I understand consumers. I built an ad network called Adconian, which we got up to $250 million in revenue. We sold the company for, by the way, $250 million to Singapore Telecom. And what did Adconian do? It ran ads for a bunch of Netflix and things like that, really consumery type stuff. So we have a lot of experience with ad landing pages and ads and driving people to pages and getting them to click and everything else, right? So we know a lot about that world. I used to do that. That was a world I lived and breathed in. I even built a social network, like Facebook. Before Facebook, well, not before Facebook really got big. I built this thing called Tag World. We had 3 million users. We sold it to MTV. Okay, so of course, the minute we sold it, the thing died. But hey, we built a social network with 3 million users. So I think I understand. I'm really pretty qualified for, at least, as a super old dinosaur, to understand consumers. I really don't see consumers ever using Ethereum. And I think they're not going to use Bitcoin in the sense of zapping each other Bitcoin over Lightning. That's just not going to happen. It's not going to be a mass usage thing. Okay. But as my friend Thomas Young points out, there's consumers and there's business, right? And also, the one thing that doesn't fit into this paradigm that I'm describing is Apple, right? So I have an iPhone. Okay. Why do I pay? I don't even know what the price is of an iPhone anymore. $700 for an iPhone when I could buy an Android for like, I don't know, $100. Because I love it. This is a very personal device, and I will pay top dollar for the best thing that I'm wearing that close to me. I don't care. I don't care. I don't care what the price is, right? You know, this is a Laura Piano sweater. Okay. You can't tell it by looking at it, but it's the finest wool in the world, right? Laura Piano. It's $1,000, I don't know, $1,500 sweater. Why? Because it makes me feel good, right? And, so, probably subconsciously there's some other thing like, they say that you own an iPhone, it makes you more, uh, appealing to the opposite gender, right? That they say, so it's just a signal, right, as well, right? So that's part of our DNA. But in any case, I think Bitcoin's going to do extremely well when it comes to holding your savings, because when I hold my savings, I don't care about, the latest, which one's popular with the latest TikTok dancer, or, what kind of filter this thing has. I don't care. Or I don't care if it moves in 1 second or 3 seconds. I don't care. So, anyways, that's the way I see this stuff. Hope you guys enjoyed this little mini kind of expose of kind of my views. I think Bitcoin's going to do fantastic. I think it's going to take over the business world. It's going to take over the sovereign world. It'll be the store of value. And I think as an investment, it has incredible risk returns, right? Do I want to put all my money in TikTok, some kind of TikTok app or something? No. Do I think Solana might go 50x from here? Very possibly, right? It's still at a market cap where it might, right? But I think Bitcoin will 10x, and that's really what I care about. So I look at the risk-adjusted return. I don't look at just the return. And so I'm still, essentially 99% Bitcoin. Maybe 90, maybe 98 now, but I'm not a crypto person. I'm a Bitcoin maxi. I proudly put Bitcoin maxi on my network, and Bitcoin and the network should be. It's not okay, Ryan. The HTTP thing is not accurate because Bitcoin can't scale like that, right? It has these inherent scaling things. So to think of it as that's a bad analogy, and a lot of bad analogies have been put out there by some really smart people who I admire, right? I think Michael Saylor has put out some really bad analogies about the Bitcoin network. And I think those things kind of made sense 2 years ago. They no longer make sense. I think it's very unlikely that Bitcoin is going to be the HTTP of the internet. I really don't think that. A network that can only transit 200 million transactions per year is not going to be HTTP. It doesn't work. And, Lightning does not solve that problem. I know Lightning inside out. I run 2 Lightning nodes. I understand Lightning. I cover it extensively in the book. And that's kind of what, and I still love Bitcoin. I still love Bitcoin. And I got to tell you, I think during this crash that we've had, right? I think you can look at, so a lot of people were at Bitcoin first. They've had to readjust, right? Because if you're holding just Bitcoin, your cold storage is working fine. You're doing fine. You're okay. It doesn't matter, right? So the people I know who are pure Bitcoin, they don't care. They're just like, okay, I've seen this movie before. It's kind of like that guy who's like first time, in the Clint Eastwood movie. You don't care. You can live through this stuff. You've been through these cycles. It's okay. And especially a flash crash 25% down. You can digest that. But I noticed these people who had these massive options positions, long calls on MSTR, long complicated trading positions on MSTR. They're getting blown out of the water. Right? They are literally getting blown out of the water. So, I think the best way to handle this stuff is you have your Bitcoin, which you just don't touch for years. You do not touch that. You do not sell it. You don't have to buy the dip. You can just sit there and watch the dip. I think they should call it watch the dip instead of buy the dip. This doesn't matter. Nobody's sitting there saying, Fred, did you buy the dip? I didn't buy the dip. Why should I buy the dip? I don't need to buy the dip. I didn't sell anything either. So anyways, that's my view on Bitcoin. But look, I think when the stuff really fully recovers, I do fully think that we're going to have an alt season. And it doesn't matter. It doesn't mean that you should buy all these alts, but I do think they're going to probably perform. Now, last thing I'll say is, what do I think of meme coins? Look, meme coins are now officially not securities. They're officially not securities. So